Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my channel, The Needlebug, and my name is Karen. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope that you find something that you like and will subscribe and keep coming back. And if you're someone who's been following me through my stitching journey for quite a while, welcome, and I'm glad you uh, are coming back to join me today. I thought today, well, first I should say this is a channel about cross stitch. And what I talk about here and try to give tips and tricks on is cross stitch. Okay, so what I thought we would do today is answer some questions that I've had on previous videos, and then we'll go into looking at what I've been working on. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But first, let's answer some questions that people have had. So Kathy asked, she wants to try linen and asked what count to start with. She recently started using 25 count Lugana. Well, Kathy, if you can stitch and you're doing over 2 on 25 count Lugana, you can certainly progress on to linen to any count that you want to use, because the principles of stitching on words on linen are the same as that you use when you stitch on Lugana. It's however many threads according to the count, and you're stitching over 2 fabric threads, just like you stitch on Lugana. So it really should be quite an easy transition for you. And you're asking me whether you should use 28 or 32 count. Either one is fine. Um, I would say whichever you can see the easiest. Um, Probably if I was new, I'd start on 28 count with 2 strands of floss over 2 threads and a size 26 needle. That would be my recommendation. The only thing that is different between the Lugana that you're already stitching on and the linen that you want to stitch on is the fact that the linen has fat and skinny threads. Okay, you're going to come across a thread that is much wider than another, and then you're going to come across threads that are so thin you almost miss them, but you need to count them. When I first started on linen, I thought, oh, well, I don't have to count this. It's not going to make any difference. It's just this little skinny thread. Well, in the grand scheme of things, and you're doing a whole project, a bigger project with it, yes, it does make a difference because it throws your counting off. You might have that skinny thread for maybe just 1 row, maybe up to 5, just to pull a number, just maybe 5 rows. So if you didn't count it as one of your over 2 threads, once you get above where that thread isn't so skinny anymore, you're where you put your needle to make your X is going to be off. So count those little skinny threads. So I hope that answers your question, Kathy. Um, and if not, let me know and we'll try and work it out. I did want to say thank you to everyone for the kind words and comments that you left on how to wash your needlework, and I hope all of you find that helpful and take some of the fear out of washing your pieces. Now, I would say if you're using, say, over-dyed thread or hand-dyed fabric, to be careful because washing it will possibly wash away some of the color. So if you want to wash any of that, I would say do some test washing first and see what happens. Take a small piece of the fabric and wash it and see what happens, or take a length of the thread and make it wet and see not only if it runs or not, but does it alter the original color of that thread. So you want to be a little prudent with what you wash. Oh my goodness, I forgot to write the name down of the person. But there was there was someone who asked what size needle to use. And my answer to that is use a needle that the eye is big enough to accommodate the thread that you're using. Okay? So for example, if you're doing something with pearl cotton, you certainly want to use maybe a 24 or a 22 size needle because you need that eye big enough that you can easily get the thread through the eye of the needle. The other thing you want to look for is if you have your needle threaded and you're stitching, is the end of your thread fraying, or are you getting, like if you don't move your needle, you get worn spots? Is that happening? If that is, you need a needle with a bigger eye. So if you're using a 28 needle and the end is fraying, or you're getting thin spots, you want to switch to a 26. Because what's happening is it's not opening the hole in your fabric enough. When that happens, then every time you pull your thread through a hole, it's abrasive to the thread because the needle isn't, the eye of the needle hasn't opened the hole large enough to accommodate that thread. So you want to be careful of that and watch for that. If that happens, then you want to change your needle. Sometimes it's just a burr in the eye of the needle that's causing like thin spots on your length of thread. But if you're getting thin spots and you're getting fraying, then if you're using a 28, go to a 26. In all honesty, I rarely, if ever, use a 28 needle anymore. My go-to is a 26 at this point in time. So you want to just play around with that for yourself and see what happens. But be aware of, is my thread getting fuzzy? Is the end of my thread getting frayed? Am I getting worn spots on the length of thread? And if all of those are happening, then change your needle to a different size. Teresa asked how I shipped Stitcher's Retreat, my pride and joy, down to Sherry at Total Framing. Did I fold it or did I put it in a tube? Well, in all honesty, Teresa, that was my question to Sherry before I mailed it, is how do they prefer it to be mailed? I did put it in the U.S. mail with tracking. It got there fine, just because there's been so many issues with the mail here of late with the pandemic and all of that. But I asked her, can I fold it? Is that going to make a difference if it's creased from folding, or do I need to put it in a tube? And she said, no, it's fine to fold it. So I did. I folded it. I put it in a plastic bag first, just in case it gets, well, we never know if it gets wet or what happens in that journey from Pennsylvania to Virginia. And then I put it in my mailing envelope. And it got there on Saturday, and she was fine and in good shape. If you get creases from folding, when it is mounted, during that mounting process, it is pulled such that it will pull those folds right out. And, I didn't ask Sherry, but she may very well iron it also before she frames it. I don't know that for sure, but she was not worried about any creases being in it. So it went folded in an envelope, which probably was way cheaper to mail than putting it in a tube. So if you're mailing things somewhere to be framed, check with the framer and see what they prefer before you put it in the mail. And above all things, be sure you put tracking on it. I think I would have been heartbroken if it would have gotten lost in the mail. I don't know what I would have done, to tell you the truth. No. No. So make sure you get tracking and make sure you put insurance on it. How do you decide how much insurance? How do you put a price on priceless? Because to me, that piece was priceless, and I could not say truly what it's worth when you look at all the materials, all the time, everything that went into stitching that piece. You can't put a price on it. So what I ended up doing is putting the price of the cost of the material, of my materials, which would be the thread and the floss, to make that piece. So at least if something did happen, your time is invaluable. You'll never replace that. But at least I could replace the fabric and thread if that became the case. So check with your framer before you mail something and see what they suggest if you're going to mail it. I can tell you, Total Framing in Fairfax, Virginia, you can fold it and put it in an envelope and send it to them. Let's see. Margot asked if I'm still happy with my Nerge stand and what size hoop do I use. And right along with that question, Diane asks, does the stand need adjustment when I'm working on it? So to answer her question first, yes, it does. I found that as I was working, if you remember right, it had the angles where you could adjust the positions at several places along the stand. 1, 2, 3. There's 4 places where you can adjust the angle and height of your stitching. The more I used it, I was finding those areas would loosen, and I'd have to be constantly repositioning it to keep it in the position that I needed. So that was, after a year, one of the things that I found was the downside of that. I also found that because it loosened up and gradually changed its position, I ended up over tightening, and then what happened was I stripped the screws. So my husband, the dear man that he is, went to the hardware store and got some other screws, and it's not that I'm trying to look at the stand and see. We just put wing nuts on it instead of those 2 winged black knobs. We just put wing nuts on it, and it's a different kind of screw. That what I do is I put an Allen wrench on the one side, and then I can tighten it. I have one of those little blocks that you can use to tighten wing nuts. I tighten it with that, and so far that's been working, and so far I have been able to get it a lot tighter, and I don't lose the positioning on it as much as I did when I initially got it. So yes, that's one of the downsides to the Nerge. Overall, I can't say that I'm unhappy with it. I still am happy with it, and I still use it. Um, I mean, I would not say, oh gosh, this is an awful stand, don't buy it. I would not go there. It's a very lovely stand, and I still do like it. It's just that you had to figure out something to accommodate that slippage on the adjustments. And what size hoop do I use on it? Because I like to stitch just one-handed and not two-handed, I find I am much faster stitching one-handed than I am two-handed. So because I like that, and my hand is constantly going front to back, back to front, I prefer nothing bigger than an 8-inch hoop on my stand. Now, there are lots of people, and especially if you're stitching two-handed, that like the 10 and 12-inch hoops, and that's, it's really personal preference what works for you. My personal preference is no bigger than an 8-inch hoop. Yes, I have to move it more often, but that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And then the last question I had was from Brenda, and she wanted to know how long or the length of floss that I use. I try to keep it to an 18-inch length. So if I hold my arm out, hold the end of the floss at my fingertips, I'll measure it up to about my elbow. If it's on, and I don't think I have a bobbin here, but if it's on a bobbin, I probably unwind, I count to 7 or 8, and then that is the length that I use. Here comes a kitty to say hello. Oh, you'll just see a little bit of his back end going past. And he's Mr. Nosy, always needs to know what's going on. So that's the questions I had. So, what have I been working on? Well, for those of you that watched my, not how to wash your piece, but my final stitches on Stitcher's Retreat, and I said I was a bit befuddled and didn't know what I wanted to work on, and I always go through this unsettled feeling until I can sink my teeth into something, and that's exactly how it's been since I recorded the last time. I just can't get settled on a project or even to rotate two projects. It's just I don't know what I want to work on yet. So I really kind of been flitting around. So what I decided to do is share with you today some of the things that, since my last video, I pulled out and put some stitches in, because Stitcher's Retreat, I worked on every day for a year and a half, every day. Very few missed days. I could probably count on, well, maybe it'd take both hands, but no more than that, days that I did not work on it. So it's kind of like that feeling that you have after you open all your presents on Christmas morning and then it's over. Or all the planning and the excitement and the building up to your wedding day, and that day comes, that day goes, and it's over. It's kind of like how I feel right now. It's kind of like I had all that build up and all that, oh my God, I'm going to get this finished. I'm actually going to get this finished. And was so excited and so happy. And now there's the letdown. And I have to get through the letdown. So I've been flitting here, there, and everywhere on what I've been stitching. So let's show you what I worked on. Okay. I pulled out Fractal, and I should have put some pictures up, but let me see. Pattern Keeper's not on here, so let me see if I can find you a picture of what it looks like when it's finished. I know I have pictures in here somewhere, so just bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves for a second, or two or three. You never realize how many pictures you have on your phone until you go to find them. And then you're scrolling and there it is. Okay. So, whoops, glare. This way. There we go. Sorry for the, okay, move the right direction. This is Fractal 6. It's a heaven and earth design. I've been working on this, but let me tell you, black is driving me crazy. It's okay if you want to stitch something that is mindless, because right now I'm in the mindless part. I'm in the part of I just now got to add a little bit of purple, and let me tell you what, 934 or 939, that really, really dark blue in amongst black is a pain in the butt. Let me tell you. So here we go. This is what I've done. Oh gosh, I'll get. There we go. This is what I've done. I worked on. Oops. I worked on this diagonal. Okay, this diagonal. I'll never get used to showing these things. This diagonal. So that's about all I did. Up here you saw I got to do a little bit of color, a little tiny bit of purple. There's 939 scattered in this in the black, but other than that, it's all black stitching. So yes, I worked on this. Yes, I was bored silly. It is okay in the evening, you know, if I'm over in the living room watching TV with my husband, that's about the only time I will pick it up, because that way I can still watch and know what's going on and have some mindless stitching to do. And what I did here is I filled in the 939 so that when I do those, I get to do just black. So yes, I would be parking on this if I had something else to park. But there's no other color but black. So that's where we are on Fractal 6. So then another one I picked up, and I had this started. Let's get the threads out of the way. Is Window with a View. Okay, I think I had used this for a stitch with me at one point in time. Okay, wait a second here. Let's do this. Then it's easier to manipulate. Okay, so that's as far as I got on Window with a View. All I worked on was, here we go, this last, okay, backwards here, this last column. I finished the column down here. I went back up to the top and started, oh good Lord, I'm this backwards business. Started on this one here, and I'm down to about right here. But again, I just am not feeling the being able to sink my teeth into this one. At least not, I want to stitch it. It's not that I don't want to stitch it. It's just that it isn't speaking very loud to me at the moment. So this is in the progress pile, and I've worked on it a little bit since we spoke last. The other one that I work, oh, I should show you, let me show you what Window with a View. Here we go. There's Window with a View. And I think that's a Dominic Davidson one. Heaven and Earth, Dominic Davidson. So there we go. The other one I picked up is Once Upon a Time. Oh, wrong way. Jose. Once Upon a Time by Heaven and Earth. Once upon a time, in a kingdom filled with enchanted books, there was a girl that loved to read. And this one I'm working on to eventually give to my daughter because she's a school teacher, um, but she loves to read. That child, I could never, as a child, keep her in books. And as an adult, she keeps her own self in books, but she is such an avid reader, and her kids are too, which is really, really great. So this is where I am on that. Go back here a little bit. There you go. Pardon me for my inability. Okay. So yes, I am stitching this on the diagonal. Now we have a kitty to help us. This is Remy. He is my little precious. Yeah, say hi. No, you can't go up there. No, no, no. He's always wants to help me stitch. And his help is called eating the embroidery floss. So we have to be very careful with scraps and of thread and needles because he likes to eat it. So this is where we are on Once Upon a Time. So I've done some on this side. I've done some on this side. I just am not sinking my teeth into this either. So I'm flitting from one thing to another. So if anybody has any advice on how to get through the flitting on things, please let me a comment. I did pull this out a little while. This is Death by Cross Stitch. I was going to do it in all black, and it's on 22 count hard hanger cloth, but that's all the further I am. Again, solid color, easy stitching, good for in the evening when you want to watch TV or whatever with your hubby and don't want to be thinking a lot. So, I mean, this is on the tentative list. Yes, I do want to stitch this. Will I get it finished one day? Who knows? I have not stitched on this recently. I did pull it out, though, as a possibility. So there we have that. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, this one I did work a little bit on. This is the I Stitch Burgundy Band Sampler. Okay, so we'll hold it up close here. I need to do the hem on the top. So this is, I think I'm about to finish page 20. So I still have like 7 more pages to go. Unless I decide to shorten it. But again, it's all one color. I get a little bored. So I pick it up and do a border or two and then put it away and pick it up again. I did get the spools that it goes on, so when it's finished, it will get wrapped on a spool like so to be displayed, and hope the cats don't get it. So that's where I am with that. So I have picked this up on several evenings, and it's being stitched with, let me see, sewed out alger, boy, I can't pronounce that, but anyway, 2926. So it's a very pretty burgundy color. And I really like it. I really like it. So that's my burgundy band sampler. And I always kind of roll it up to put it away. So you see I have a little bit here, let's see. There I am. I have a little bit to finish yet. So this gets worked on every now and again. And then, let me see. I really should finish this. And this might be something that I pick up to get through the, what do I want to stitch on blues? Because I really have this series almost done. I think I showed you this before. It's the one by Brenda Gervais. It's the Schoolhouse. What is it? Schoolhouse Stitchworks? Is that what it's called? Summer Schoolhouse. Summer Schoolhouse. So it's this series of charts. And I think this one has them all. There we go. Has them all. So I have one more to totally stitch and just this one to finish. So they're all kind of on this piece of cloth willy-nilly, but I left enough room in between to cut them apart and make pillows out of them. So let's see, let's turn it this way. And why did I keep so much fabric up here at the top? I have no idea. But we did the A, B, C, D, E, F. Wrong way. And then we did the A, B, C, D, F, G. Here's H, I, J. Here's L, M, N, O. And I'm working on QRS. I just have the grass underneath the house and the bottom border to finish. And then there should be enough room here yet to do the last one. So I think what I'm going to do is give this one a little bit of more priority and get these finished since it's so close to a finish. So this one will come out to play for a while, I think. And then, last one that I didn't really work on, but as I was deciding and pulling projects that I wanted to show you guys today, I found this one again and thought, you know what? Maybe it's time to take a little bit of a break from full coverage designs. I really like them and I really want to stitch full coverage. But I also want to stitch this one. And, well, first let's show you the picture. This is Barbara Hudson's Queenstown Sampler Designs. Barbara found this, and I think I told you this story before, that she got a hold of me and said, I got just the sampler for you because it has my last name. So I kind of think, I hope you're not getting any glare on there, that this one needs my attention and it needs to be stitched. I am, however, going to make a few adjustments. Like up here, these butterflies, they're not really, I don't care for them. So I'm going to put something else in its place. Either that or leave it blank. I may very well change the wording in the middle. I haven't decided. I think what it says, and let me see if it's printed somewhere. No, she doesn't have it. No, she doesn't have it. So let me try and read it. It's, "'Tis religion that can give sweetest pleasure while we live. 'Tis religion must supply solid comfort when we die." I'm not sure if I'm going to let that or if I'm going to change it to something else. It's a little, I don't know. I have to wait till I get there. So we'll see what that brings. But what I am going to do is down, here we go again. Down here where it's her name, age 9, and the year, I'm not quite sure. I may just stitch that as it is. And then down here in this bottom border, I may do like I did on my Dutch Beauty. I don't know if everybody saw that. But what I did is omitted the actual border and centered my name and the year, and then made the border butt up against that. So I may very well put my name as the bottom border. I kind of liked when I did that before. It was a nice treat. So what I'm going to do is use this as a guide, but I will be changing some colors. I will be putting my name here at the bottom along with the year. I don't know if I want to put my age. That's open for discussion and up for debate, but we'll see. We'll see about that. But I am, like I said, I am going to change colors, and I am going to swap out some motifs and make it my own. So we'll see how it turns out. This start is, hold on to your hats, folks, ladies and gents. This start is on 56 count. Meldal, Meldal, by Zweigert. So this is not a linen, it's a cotton. It's 56 count. So it's much like, it has even threads just like your Lugana, Jobelin. But like I said, it's 100% cotton. And it's very much an even weave, even though all our fabrics are even weave, but it's what the industry classifies as an even weave and not a linen, which I find it much easier to stitch on for myself. It's much easier to stitch on than stitching on a 56 count linen. I believe, no, I believe someone told me, if I am recollecting correctly, someone told me that Jean at the attic has the ability to order this and to stock it. Now, whether she has it in stock at the moment, I do not know. I know I had checked with Needle in a Haystack, and at the time I checked, they didn't have it. So I have to give a shout out to Country Stitchers. Deb, you got to try this. You really got to try it. Um, you'll need a magnifier, because boy, do I ever. But you really got to try. Deb was here for a short visit. I had something that I wanted to give to her, and because she collects antiques, and I had something that I needed to uh, get rid of, and I figured she would enjoy it. So I had gotten a hold of her, and she was here the other week, and we had a really, really great little chat and tour of all my samplers hanging on the wall. And while she was here, I did give her a piece of this. So I'm anxious to hear how she likes it and what she stitches on it. So uh, I can't wait to hear from her again. So hopefully we'll be getting together again soon and be able to share some needlework together. And she's hopefully we'll bring Liz along. Uh, so we'll have a fun time when that happens. So Deb, you got to try it. I'm telling you, you'll like it. You'll like it. So this at this moment in time, I'm feeling this is what's going to get some love for a little bit. Between this and finishing the schoolhouse, summer schoolhouse pieces, and the band sampler, I think are going to be on my agenda for a little bit. Uh, I'm just feeling, the more I'm sitting here talking and talking this through with all of you guys, the more I'm feeling like I just need to take that little bit of a break from full coverage designs. That's not to say if you guys have questions, you can't ask them. Bring them on. I will be more than happy to answer any questions or um, offer any guidance or whatever it is I can do to help you out. For those people that don't know, uh, and I'm pretty sure most of you probably know, I am the admin on, well, I started the group for the love of diagonal cross stitching. So, full coverage people, it's a place that you may find enjoyable. Um, However, I do not limit the post to full coverage and stitching on the diagonal. Anyone can join, and you can post whatever you like. But it's a very good group. Uh, People have been very great about answering questions and helping each other, and that's just exactly what I wanted the group to be about. Is, there's enough unrest, unhappiness, division, inequality in this world today. We had enough. We really need places where we can enjoy each other's company, where we can help each other and just relax and find it a safe place. So that is what I feel like the group has become. People are very helpful. Um, and I was on this soapbox before, so I'm not going to go full on to my soapbox again and drive you guys crazy. Um, but I want it to be a place of warmth and kindness and sharing something that we all love. You know, you wouldn't be watching these videos if you didn't have some love for needlework. You wouldn't be here. And people don't join the group because they don't enjoy needlework. You know, everybody has, it's a common thread between all of us, and I want the group to stay that way. But all of you watching are welcome, to join. You know, it's like I said, it's a safe place, it's a fun place, and everybody has been super helpful to each other. You know, I don't always get on as often as I should, and there's lots of times I'll get on and somebody had a question and somebody else always answered it. So that's just a great thing, and I really, really enjoy that. So I really don't have anything else to show you today. What can I say? What can I say? I'm just going to keep on floundering around for what I stitch on, and hopefully this too will pass, and I will get back to a full coverage project and start sinking my teeth into it. What I am finding a little bit, and I would be curious how you folks all feel about this. Once you start doing full coverage, do you find that you get really bored when you're not working on a full coverage? This is my test to see if that's going to be the case. That's why I pulled some of these things that are not full coverage. In a way, like I said, I can't find the project to sink my teeth into at this moment. But in a way, I'm finding myself, yes, I want to finish these other things. I want to finish this schoolhouse project. I absolutely want to do the sampler. I really need to finish the bell pull because it's so close. But I find I get bored. And yet I can't sink my teeth into a full coverage. So, help. How do I get past this uneasy, unrestful feeling? If any of you got any suggestions, I'm open to hear them. So, leave it in the comments, and we'll talk about it again next time. So, I'm hoping I can do a video once a week, or at least once every other week, until we get until I get settled again. And if you would like a stitch with me, what project should we work on? Let me know. Okay? So, my friends, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, follow the guidelines, do all the things you're supposed to do, and we will get through this pandemic if everybody just does a few simple things. So until next time, I love you all. Thank you so much for all your kindness and support in making these videos. and I will be back next time. So see you all then. Bye.